So we're doing the movie Drive. I assume with there being no words, you just picked this movie because you love looking at Ryan Gosling.
Oh man, he's very good looking, and he does a lot of staring into the middle distance in this movie. But I do love this film, and I found myself for like a good chunk of time constantly defending it and or like trying to put people onto it, like trying to be a Drive evangelist. It was a big part of my
You're like,
personality.
you
For a
went down
long...
to Lakeshore outside the Walmart and stood there with the signs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I was all like, I was like a Westboro Baptist Church, but just for like Drive, God hates Baby Driver.
We're
Don't
Ryanites.
watch Baby Driver. Watch Drive instead.
So you like this significantly more than Baby Driver, obviously.
Never even saw Baby Driver.
I was like,
refused to.
Well, you feel like it's just a ripoff of this?
I feel like it's the more mainstream version of this. Like this is a harder watch, but a better film. And I from what I assume, I boycotted Baby Driver. I assume
successfully boycotted.
Yeah, yeah. I never watched it. But I assume that movie was a little bit more mainstream and a little bit easier of a watch.
It's definitely funnier.
Yeah. Not a lot of humor in this movie.
But no, it's not as deep.
I think Drive also was a polarizing film because the trailer maybe led people to believe that it was like Fast and the Furious car chase. You got Ryan Gosling, a big A-lister, and then you click in and not a lot of action, not a lot of dialogue, not a lot of much, But if you really watch the film and appreciate it, you realize like, oh, this is such a well-made movie.
I watched it when it originally came out, but I hadn't seen it since, and my memory was so like I couldn't remember most of it.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like watching it for the first time again. But the one thing I remembered is him pulling up like as soon as he was listening to the Clippers game. Yeah. I was like, "Oh,
that's the plan."
Him like being at the game right as all the people come out.
Yeah.
And even still it was like knowing it was coming, it was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's what we're watching right now. The opening, kind of getaway scene. So well done. You got the police scanner. You got the Clippers game on the radio. The camera never leaves the interior of the car. So you, the viewer, you feel like you're inside the car. It's just such a well done opening like sequence. And there's so many cool moments here. Like there's a point where he's getting away, but he's tailing a cop because the cop is looking to his left and to his right with the searchlights, and it cuts to to these two jokers in the back seat like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like he's tailing the cop. What is that? And then with the Clippers game, and he parks in the parking garage and then gets out, takes off the scorpion jacket and walks right past the cop. It almost does that like, oops, excuse me move. That's a pro. He's a pro.
I'm pretty upset right now because I forgot I was going to get us all toothpicks.
I would love that.
Custom Drive toothpicks.
Yeah. Hey, you want a toothpick?
The action, there's not a ton of action, but I guess car scenes. I wish there was more, but the ones you do get are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. There's three main car scenes. This one, and then when the pawn shop robbery goes wrong.
Yeah.
And that one's filmed more in like a classic, cinematic, like we're seeing all kinds of different angles, a lot of crane shots or whatever. And then the third one is just a real cat and mouse where he takes Nino to the ocean and drowns him. Spoiler alert. But that's for a movie called Drive. There's not a lot of driving. And I don't know if you guys saw this in your research, but some fan, I guess, or I guess not a fan, sued Drive,
I saw that.
Yeah, because of the trailer being misleading.
So yeah, because she wanted like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, have you ever had anything that's made you like irrationally angry, or something that like routinely happens to you where you're like, I get way too mad about that for no reason?
Yeah, I mean, I get mad if we're we got cars here. Let's take it to the skies. Let's take it to the airplanes.
Okay.
Guys, your backpacks go in the seat in front of you, below the seat in front of you. Your backpacks don't go up there, up in the bins.
Oh, and then the overhead storage.
In the overhead storage. Let's leave those for the bigger roller boards, because guys, sometimes I fly first class, so it doesn't really affect me. You know what I'm saying? But if we're gonna hold up the plane because you got all these people in the last boarding group with roller boards, and now we got a gauge. It's
putting
like
their JanSport up top.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's dumb.
That makes me irrationally mad. And just like when people don't respect that, like, we're all in this together, like, don't make this thing about you, or don't be selfish.
How would one do that on the airplane? Start doing stand up?
Well, that's a we'll talk about that later. That's a dream of mine. That's a goal
to do
of mine.
stand up on a plane?
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Yeah. If we ever, I don't know if you wanted to bring up the special, but we could plug the special.
Yeah. No,
and then I could
do it now. Plug the special.
Hey, I got a special on Netflix, YouTube. Sorry. Oh my God. I got a special on YouTube called Let's All Agree. I think it's really great.
Let's all agree on that.
Let's all agree on that.
I agree.
Yeah, let's all agree. And I'd love for you to go check it out. Thank you.
Can you believe this many people were at the Clippers game?
Yeah, 2011?
Yeah.
Well, they had Blake Griffin.
They did not.
And Chris Paul, you're right. That was Lob City.
Lob City.
Yeah. They're exciting.
They name drop Blake Griffin in that radio voiceover. And I think they're playing the Raptors. I watched it last night.
Okay.
And I think I heard something about the Raptors.
And he was driving a Kia.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, he was driving a Chevy Malibu, man. Most popular car in the state of California.
I loved how they did that.
Yeah. Nobody will be looking at you. Drop 300 horses, so this baby's going to fly.
Mm-hmm. That was smart.
So Cranston is in this. Brian Cranston is in this.
And Walter White.
Yeah, man.
You said it like y'all are old friends.
Yeah.
Old Cranston.
Old Cranston. We were frat buddies back in the day. Yeah.
You called him Cranberry.
Oh, cranberry juice.
He was my pledge master. That Walter White came out every now and again. But so he said that, like, his character should be a motor mouth, like, should talk way too much.
Yeah.
Because obviously Gosling's choice was to not talk at all. So, like, when Hi Hello would do, like, Cranston is just like rambling.
But it seems that way too. I mean, I saw that they improvised a lot.
Yeah,
so
I think
that
so.
even the director was like, "Hey, send me your notes on your characters." And Cranston seems like someone that, like, does probably talk a lot when he gets nervous, or when,
sure,
because you just feel. I see him doing all his tequila stuff.
Yeah,
where he's like bartending him and Jesse, whatever the guy.
Pinkman.
Yeah, what's his name?
Aaron Paul.
So they're always like bartending and doing stuff, and he just seems like jovial and y'all are kind of similar.
Dude, I'll take
characters.
It. Yeah, I'll take it, man.
Like jovial and just kind of like, all right, I want everyone to have fun, and I'm gonna keep it going and mixing it up. I could see you behind the bar serving tequila,
but there's a bubbling rage beneath the surface.
Yes,
yeah.
I've seen the Uncle Vince's Neighborhoods videos.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, don't speed on my street. Don't cross me. Here's a great scene. Just walk past Carey Mulligan in the elevator, which will be a main set piece later. Carey Mulligan.
So the way she got casted was because she walked in and just had that innocence look to her.
Yes.
And the director was immediately like, her.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
this is someone you want to protect.
Yeah, like, because she's supposed to be Spanish.
Yes, and older.
I didn't know the older part.
Yeah.
Just throwing Eva Mendes in there.
Nah, dude,
look at that.
Let's go a little older.
Well, she's older than him.
Let's go. Who's the girl from
Salma Hayek?
Salma Hayek, dude.
Yeah. Oh, Salma Hayek. That would have been a good choice.
I'll never not like Salma Hayek.
Oh yeah, man.
Let's go even older.
I can't.
The grandma from Coco. Let's do the grandma from Coco.
Oh, Ryan.
Remember me.
Great movie.
Great movie.
It really is.
Have you guys done Pixar on the podcast?
I don't think we have.
Dude, I would do Inside Out with you guys and cry.
Is that your favorite?
I mean, that one like affected me, like, as an adult, like, emotionally. Just like,
That was a good one. No.
oh man, just like making you re-examine your whole childhood.
Yeah.
And Bing Bong, when the imaginary,
Bong?
yeah,
Yeah.
the imaginary friend, I might cry now. The imaginary friend, like, sacrifices himself so that the Joy can
make it back.
make it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was a cop.
I know. That's a great misdirect.
Because I was sitting
Fantastic.
there going, that's how he had a police scanner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stupid for not picking up on that initially. That's
Yeah.
how he knew to turn his lights off, because he knew cops were patrolling that way. And then to
Sure.
get behind him, because he probably knew that was Sanchez. And Sanchez never looks at his 6. You know, he's always straight ahead.
Dude,
so just,
Sanchez is 12, 3, and 9. Dude.
everyone
He's
knows
never-
that about
everyone knows
Sanchez,
that about
dude.
Sanchez.
Classic Sanchez.
Yeah, man.
Wait, are you getting...
Are
you going
you?
first?
Yeah. I was just waiting.
Are you about to queue up a gift?
Yeah.
Are you about to queue up
I
a
did
gift?
think it'd be funny if we just
Never
if we never gave you anything the whole time. You're just like, what the hell?
What the hell?
Come on, guys.
We like head fake you the whole
You got
time.
a freaking Christmas tree up
Yeah.
right now. The
Sorry,
episode
we
to
were
not
just,
give gifts.
We were just rolling, but
Dude.
first gift for you. We got you some sick gin and juice.
That's what I'm talking about. 19 Crimes, Cali Red right here, dude. My wife is going to drink all of this, and I'm not going to get a sip. I appreciate it, y'all.
That'll probably work out better for you, though.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to show up to Thanksgiving with this, y'all. Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
you've got a lot of puns about 90s rap.
Oh, yeah, I do have 90s rap puns in the special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
yeah.
that. I enjoyed that stretch.
Oh, thank you, man.
My daughter is so sweet. I love the age she's at right now. She's so funny. Like she sings the ABCs all the time. She doesn't really know like the real letters. Like she doesn't really know like all 28 letters or anything. But but she like knows the sounds. You know, like she'll get through the sounds. Like my daughter sings the ABCs the way we all sing Bone Thugs and Harmony Crossroads. Okay? You know you don't know the words, but you are confident on the sounds. You're thinking, oh man, this early into the set, already did a Biggie joke, already did a Bone Thugs joke. Tell you what, bundle them together, call them a Tupac. All right, come on! Come on! Maybe you don't get these references, you're feeling like an outcast. Shut up! Don't worry, we'll MC Hammer through it. Okay! Oh, man. Powering through puns in a stand-up set is basically telling the audience, no, you suck. And I could tell while I was in that pun run, some of you guys were like, all right, stop, collaborate, and listen. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm doing puns up here. Nothing is more gratifying than telling an audience, fuck you, as they clap. It's so great. It's the greatest feeling in the world. It's literally the greatest feeling in the world.
Is that what you're normally listening to when you're out cruising around?
I feel like, yeah, just kind of when I was writing the set, I realized like, oh, I have these two 90s rap jokes back to back. You know, I had a Biggie Smalls joke and then a Bone Thugs joke. And then I was like, bundle them together, call them a Tupac. And I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And then I ran it by a buddy of mine who's like my all-time favorite comedian. His name's Tim Heckel. If you did watch the Vince Fabra's Neighborhood show, check out Vince Fabra's Neighborhood on my YouTube page. He's the guy that is Tom Comedy at the end. He's
Okay.
like comes on as a big character, and he's just like the funniest person I know. He was like, dude, don't stop there. You got to keep hitting it. Come up with more 90s rap puns. So we came up with more 90s rap puns, but the most fun was to like have that misdirect of tell everybody, all right, we're done.
What was your biggest pun?
Big pun? They call it big pun. Yeah. I think that one didn't make the special, but that I added that one in. I did that one at Stardome when I first met
Man, you're ludicrous.
Oh man, I'm gonna spend the rest of this episode just like staring at like what's a good one? How can I come up with a good one? Oh man,
I'd never heard MC Hammer through this.
MC Hammer through this. Yeah. Maybe you don't get these references. You're feeling like an outcast.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And then I love, again, like, all right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Got one more in.
Had to end it with a Vanilla Ice,
Had
of
to
course.
end it. Yeah.
The
obviously.
greatest
The
rapper
greatest-
ever.
Greatest rapper ever, for sure. But yeah, I'll have to think about how to incorporate some Snoop Dogg into that.
Moving on.
Moving on. Dude, what we got here?
Thought you could explain the shirt.
Did you guys get this custom made, dude?
They actually had them already.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Another great joke from my fantastic special. Go check it out. Let's all agree. Yeah, so I grew up in New Orleans.
You're gonna
and
pick up like 6 followers. Out of
yeah,
this.
dude. Hell yeah. I grew up in New Orleans, and when I was a child, I learned this like dirty joke. I didn't know it was dirty, but I thought I would unveil it at a family function. So everyone's telling like PG jokes, PG-13 jokes, and I was like, oh, I got a joke I learned at school recently. And I was like, do you know what the Saints should change their name to? Everyone said, no, what? And I said, the 69ers, because they suck at both ends of the field. And the joke destroyed. But my mom and dad were tremendously embarrassed. And I just remember like my dad being like very embarrassed, but also like, say it again. How does it go? Like he wanted to put that.
Hear the joke.
Yeah, he wanted to put that arrow in his quiver to tell to his friends.
Well, the story's probably funnier. Have it you tell like you're never gonna believe the joke my son told.
Yeah. Well, I think that's actually what the real story is.
Yeah.
So like I told my parents just at dinner, just with the 4 of us, our family of 4, and they were like, "Don't ever say that again." And then when it was like time to really have the big moment of like, "Hey, watch this. Hey, Vinny, go ahead and tell that joke about the Saints." And they teed me up for it, and it crushed. Yeah. So
that's just good parents.
That's just good parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, let's encourage this exciting. But yeah, man, 69ers shirt. I can't wait to like wear this with like a jacket that covers up the 6 and then run into like a 49ers fan that's like, oh, what's up? I'm like, nah, dude. Nah, dude.
So on your special, you talked about, I guess it was just a joke now, but you talked about that's how you found out Santa wasn't real.
Yeah, that's just a part of the bit.
Yeah. So you lied to us.
I did. I pulled a Hassan Minaj and lied to you guys.
But I guess you've seen the podcast or you're a little familiar with it, but we usually ask all our guests how they found out Santa wasn't real.
Oh, is that a real thing that you do on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm happy to share that story.
Yeah, please do.
'Tis the season. Yeah, I think it was just like I probably was maybe like between 8 and 10, so it had lasted a good while for me. And then I remember I'm 37, dude. 37 years old.
Nice.
So
05?
04.
Oh,
Yeah,
lame.
dude. 04 out the door, man. So when I was like 8 or 9, I guess Windows 95 had come out. We got a new family computer from Santa Claus. And I remember Christmas morning, there was like the scrolling marquee screensaver, like Merry Christmas, and had me and my sister's names on there. And I just remember my dad just kept being like, be careful with the computer. Like, hey, that's an expensive machine. Be careful with the computer. And I was just like, Dad, Santa brought this. This is free. Like, I've been a good boy. I've paid for this with good behavior. Like
you be careful.
Yeah, you be careful with the computer. And then I think I just kind of like hearing my dad just continuously be like, that cost a lot of money. Be careful with the computer. I just remember asking my mom, being like, so what's the deal? Santa? She's like, no, he's not real. So it was my dad's frugality mixed with my childhood curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to do this like student council camp. And
God, that sounds cool as hell.
yeah, dude. I peaked in high school. And at the end of the night, we'd have like these little small groups. We call them family groups. And at like the last night you're there, you light some tea light candles in the middle of a pie tray, and you circle up and you sleep over style, and you ask like deep questions, and people get emotional. And so we always had the like back pocket, tell us how you figured out Santa Claus wasn't real, to like cut the tension.
Isn't it a great icebreaker?
It's a great icebreaker.
Everyone and if they don't have a story, it's like, wow, what a sad childhood this person had.
For sure.
They didn't believe it.
So we cut the tension with this, and this girl is in like high school, right? She's a student in it's a high school camp. This girl's in high school, and she was like, well, I found out Santa wasn't real like 3 months ago. And she's in like high school. And I was just like, Thank God you found out 3 months ago, because if we ruined it here, like if like the levity question.
Yeah. The let's get to know you made someone cry.
Exactly. Yeah. So every time I hear like people that kind of held on to it a little longer, I think about that sweet, sweet young lady.
Yeah, I guess it could have been worse.
Yeah. I also have a theory that when you stop believing in Santa Claus, there's an 8 to 10 year window until you lose your virginity. So what are your two numbers?
I've disproved that.
Yours tighter?
No, way
Longer.
Way longer.
When did you stop believing in Santa Claus?
Late.
Way late.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What year? How old were you?
I think I was 4th grade. So
okay.
What was that? 12? No.
No, that's probably like 10.
Yeah. So that's 10.
10. And then when did you lose your virginity?
Ooh, like 24.
24, 14 years. Okay.
Yeah.
It's good. Good numbers. What about you? What's your gap there?
Like a little less than 8 years.
A little less than 8 years.
When you find out Santa's like, I went bad.
Yeah, dude. Because that's what I believe.
He started smoking.
Yeah, man.
That's like what he asked for Christmas that year was cigarettes.
Yeah. That's like the beginning of the deterioration of your innocence. You find out Santa isn't real. Then 8 to 10 years later, you're having premarital sex, dude.
What's next?
What's next, bro? I do that joke around Christmas time, and what I want to find out is someone that like believed in Santa way too late and had sex way too early. So they had sex.
You almost. I'm so close.
So close.
Only the biggest window you've ever heard, probably.
Is that another icebreaker you do at the camp?
Let's talk about it, guys. We call this exercise boundary breaking. So we're gonna break some boundaries here.
Speaking of Christmas, the next thing we got you a little Christmas ornament.
Oh, dude. Yes. Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave.
So that was your Halloween costume.
That was my Halloween costume this year. Yeah, man. Tim Robinson, I Think You Should Leave.
Great Halloween costume.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I kind of like, what do I have at my disposal? I think I got a swim shirt, swim trunks, and a fucking crazy stare. I can do that. So I appreciate that, man. And I love this show. Are you guys big fans?
Oh yeah.
Or?
I think that's my favorite skit of his.
Yeah.
I watched it like 30 times.
Oh, dude, so good, so good. Going back to my buddy Tim Heckle, that just like fully commits, fully goes for it, like just does a bit until it's dead. That's kind of what Tim Robinson does as well, and I think that's really what tickles me for comedy.
What's your favorite skit by him?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many. Like, I'll watch a season, the first one through, and one will just like crush me and bust me up, and then I'll be like, that's everyone's favorite, right? And everyone's like, no, that's not our. Which one is that again? I'm like, oh, do I like have the hip taste of the hip show? But season 1 was the nachos sketch, where it's like you can't eat all the nachos, like you got to share the nachos. Obviously the classics. You got hot dog costume guy. We're all trying to find out who did this,
Someone drove a hot dog-shaped car through the window.
Driver's gone. Somebody call the cops. We need to find that driver.
They could have killed someone.
Whose car is this?
Yeah, come on. Whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad.
That's a great one.
I think eating the receipt's one of my favorites.
Oh, dude,
eat the receipt, dude.
I think that's episode 1 too. So that's like
episode 1.
Yeah, like season 1, episode 1. Eating the receipt is so good.
One of my favorites when he's a substitute teacher, or not he's like the driving teacher. It's just like, what does she do? Tables.
I don't know how to talk more about tables. Yeah. Don't ask me about the tables.
What does she do?
Tables!
But how is tables a job?
I can't know how to hear any more about tables.
Oscar Isaac, back to the movie.
Dude, Oscar Isaac.
He's one of my favorite actors, and this is the first movie I think I might have saw him in. And even in a short amount of time, I was so disappointed when he died, because I was like, oh man, I like this guy. He talks. But even this speech he's given to everybody, it's like, it's just he does a lot with little.
Exactly, man. Yeah. And going back to the writing, it's like in this speech, he was, because he was in prison and he's obviously gotten out. And he says, it was a horrible thing, what I did. but they don't like explain what he
I
did.
had sex with a lot of men in jail.
Possibly, yeah. Which is why he had protection money and now he owes money.
While he's talking, though, even that moment of bouncing between the girl and Ryan Gosling and just back and forth and talking about her just feeling that, like, I'm trapped in this, that I want to be with him.
Totally. And then this great line right here where she's like, I hope we weren't too loud. And he's like, I was going to call the cops. She says, I wish you would. Oh, dude. Like, that's just like 3 lines tell you so much about this dynamic. It's so good. And then Oscar Isaac comes out and he's like, the kid's name is Benicio. He's like, Benicio, tell me you coming around a lot? Helping out? Huh? Coming around? Huh? And Gosling's just like, yeah. He just like gives him nothing.
First he doesn't even say anything.
He doesn't acknowledge.
Just smiles.
He just smiles.
And he's kind of like, which honestly would be even worse if like you kind of were like dating somebody's like ex or whatever, and they just like smiled at you and wouldn't talk. It would honestly, that would be like way worse.
Yeah. Well, I think he's like looking at the kid. So like have this warm, loving relationship with my son, dude. Yeah. But I kind of anticipated, being asked the question, like, who else would you want to see as the driver? And I come back to Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, I thought that same thing. I was like, I think Oscar Isaac, Tom Hardy, or to me, like 40 years ago, Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, to me, this movie reminds me of a Western a lot.
It is a Western, dude.
Yeah.
It is a Western, dude.
Exactly.
Instead of having the quickest draw, he's the best driver. It's like
he's the quickest start.
He's the quickest start. Yeah, man. But yeah, I feel like if this movie was made now, like Oscar Isaac is kind of at the stage in his career where Ryan Gosling was in 2011, where everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." Like, I would watch him in this. But it was supposed to be Hugh Jackman.
Oh man, I would have loved that. And once again, Hugh Jackman played Wolverine like Clint Eastwood. Like that's who he studied a lot. Like so, like that'd been awesome. I love Hugh Jackman, so I would have probably preferred that a little bit. But I think Ryan Gosling does a good job.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for just watching Drive and not hating it, because a lot of people.
I like it a lot.
A lot of people
I understand the hate though.
I do.
A lot of people look at it and just go, "Oh, it's some art housey movie."
Yeah.
Like, it's just. And even myself, I watched it the first time, liked it, and then I remember, and Nick told me to watch it. So I like, well, it was on Netflix or something. I watched it, and I got a friend to watch it. And like halfway through, he's just like, it's like, I'm not really paying it. Like, I don't even. What's happened? And I was just like, we don't have to watch this anymore.
Yeah. Dude, I've had that experience with this movie many times. Like, guys, we got to watch this movie, and people hate it.
This is so awesome. This scene where the guy comes from the other end of the bar and it's like, I know you, man. You did that job.
Yeah.
And then
we got a different will, man. My brother got himself killed.
I know the exact line. It's something, I wrote it down because I was like, how about this? You shut your mouth or I'll kick your teeth down your throat
and shut it
for you.
Yeah. Right here.
How about this? Shut your mouth, or I'll kick your teeth down your throat and I'll shut it for you.
Again, the hate of this movie. It's so slow, or like there's not a lot of dialogue, and it's really not slow because they don't have a lot of exposition. They don't have a lot of unnecessary fluff. It's 2 very lean storylines, and Standard getting out of jail is what starts to connect those storylines, which is also what starts to freaking unravel the cool, calm, collected driver. And so him in the diner telling that guy, I'm going to kick your teeth down your throat and shut your mouth for you, is like the first time that you're like, oh, this guy's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's insane. Let's see what happens. I'm intrigued.
So I got you something from a movie. It's about a guy that goes back in time, but then like tries to
what?
Not have sex with his mom. I forget the name of the movie.
This is mine? I get to keep this?
You get to keep it.
This is incredible.
It doesn't actually hover.
Yeah, it's not a real hover.
How does it even work? Does it even work at all, or is it like ornamental only? Or
yeah, I think you could use it in the snow, maybe.
Okay. Sweet,
no, I
dude.
think it's more like
my kids are gonna break their limbs on this. I'm excited.
I don't know how.
Yeah, this is so
They'll
cool,
find
dude.
a way.
Yeah, Back to the Future, great movie.
That's the name.
Yeah, that's the name. Another great joke from the special. Go check it out. My wife is a very pop culture illiterate person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are pretty savvy. You have a movie podcast. You know, you have good taste.
That
in
doesn't
things.
mean anything.
Yeah.
They give podcasts to anyone these days.
It doesn't take a lot to start it. And you're doing a great job, guys. Big fan of the Movie Ruiners. But yeah, do you have that person in your life that's like very pop culture illiterate that you just like, they don't know who sings what, they don't know who acts in what, they forget the name to Back to the Future?
I feel that way in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Just like music, it's hard to keep up with all popular music going on.
Oh,
like,
for sure,
You know,
dude.
it's like who? Like Ice Spice? What the hell is that? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like I mean, I know who she is now, but for a while it's just like, is there another Spice Girl on the scene?
I thought it was a Starbucks thing.
Oh, what's
Dude.
yeah? Is this like the Pumpkin Lotto? Like, what is this?
Dude, favorite Spice Girl from back in the day?
Dude, Jerry. Yeah.
Jerry. Ginger Spice.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean Beckham's wife. I can't think of her name.
Posh
but-
Spice.
Spice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, come
Victoria.
on, she's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. For me, it really depended on the music video. You know, sometimes one of them was shining bright.
Why do we have to choose?
Yeah.
I'll take all four.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Baby Spice was looking pretty good every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde girl.
I just, she wasn't as good in Baby Driver.
She wasn't good in Baby Driver. But yeah, my wife doesn't know the name of Back to the Future.
I was watching Back to the Future on the USA Network. Guys, not trying to brag. I have the USA Network. All right, let's just move past it. I'm already in a suit. I don't want you to think I'm like better than you, you know. And Back to the Future, you know, the most famous movie of all time, right? My wife walks in from the other room, no guide, no titles, just Marty McFly on the screen, and she starts spinning her wheels. She's like, oh my God, okay, this is that movie where the guy like goes back in time and meets his parents, and his mom falls in love with him, but then he's got to get his parents back together, or else he'll never be born. Shit, what's it called? What's it called? Who knows the major plot points of Back to the Future, but doesn't know that it's called Back to the Future? Just keep talking it out. You'll eventually say the phrase, Back to the Future. It's not a very cryptic title at all. What's that movie where Ferris Bueller has that great day off? Shit. What's that one called? Y'all know the one where they leave the kid home alone? What's the name of that movie, y'all? When Harry Met Sally. It's a beautiful moment, but what is the name of that film?
Another thoughtful gift from the Movie Ruiners. You guys have a gift for gift giving, man. That's really great.
So I've always thought like getting in a car chase would be kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever been chased by the cops like on foot or anything like that?
I could be making this up in my head, but I feel like I've successfully evaded 2 tickets. Like on the
Really?
interstate, you got the cop in the median. You're like, oh shit, I was going easy 10, 15 over. And looking in the rear view, like I see him pulling out.
Yeah.
I'm taking the next exit.
Mm.
Could I get in the right lane and go the speed limit and be like, what? I wasn't speeding. That wasn't me. Or do I floor it, hit the next exit, and fucking get out of there? And I think I've successfully done that twice.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is not a story I thought I'd hear you tell.
Well, yeah, man. I have complicated relationships with like parking tickets and speeding tickets. I don't pay them.
So they're told now, from what I understand, they're trained even to like not chase people over tickets like that
Yeah.
because it puts more people in danger
Sure.
from the person driving recklessly to
Yeah.
avoid them than it does for them to get that person
For sure.
a $10 speeding ticket.
Yeah.
Or, 10 over or whatever. it is.
Exactly. Well, let me be clear. The cop wasn't on my tail.
Yeah, he was.
He was
still,
like still trying to get out and get into traffic. And I was like, I'm not chancing it. I got to pee anyway. Like, let's just get off at the next exit and avoid this.
Get out of the car. I'll turn my jacket inside out. Put on
Yeah,
a baseball
put on a
hat and
baseball
go
cap.
inside.
I've always
Yeah.
thought that would be good too if you just went to a gas station. If he followed you and just be like, I'm sorry, I got shit in my pants.
True, man. Yeah, that I wouldn't have to.
You
act.
could give me a ticket, but I'm going right now.
Yeah, I did one time on my way to a wedding. A cop lit me up, like right before this, like Atlanta.
He lit you up. That's a
Yeah, dude, freaking lit me up with his lights, bro. And it was like 8 lanes of traffic. 4 were going this way to an interstate, and 4 were going this way to the interstate. And I needed to go left. So I was like, okay, I'm not pulling over here and then need to get across 7 lanes of traffic in like a half-mile span. So I just kept driving for like a mile, 2 miles, and he's on my ass, you know. And I finally get past the split, and I pull over, and he comes over. He's like, "So you just pull over where you want?" And I was like, I needed to, you know, get over here to the left lane. He's like, "I'm gonna search your vehicle." He thought I was like using that time to like stash stuff, you know.
That's hilarious.
So he's like, "I'm searching your vehicle. Is that cool?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, go for it. I've never done a drug in my life. I don't have anything in my car." And I'm like, I'm telling him where the secret compartments are, you know, in my car. I'm like, actually, if you lift that up, you'll see that the spares down there. You check down there too. And then he ended up like not even giving me a ticket. He was just frustrated, and I got away with that. So I guess that's 3 tickets I've gotten out of.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty
You're
baller.
the illusionist, dude.
Yeah, man. Look, I got a very strict set of rules, you know. Anything happens within that 5 minutes, I'm yours. Anything on the side of that, you're on your own.
Like, I could definitely see Clint Eastwood giving that speech.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I have 2 stories I want to share. I wanted to make sure to share about me like constantly talking about this movie. The first one involves my mom. She was visiting me when we lived in Charleston, and it was in my height of like being obsessed with Drive and just like talking about it all the time. And I got emotional while talking about the movie, just how much I loved it and how well made it was. And I was like crying a little bit. My mom was very touched. And she said the most mom thing ever. She was like, "Have you ever thought about reaching out to the director?" I was like, "No, I haven't, Mom." She was like, "You should tell him that story." About how much his movie affected you. So
Just write him a letter.
just write him a letter. Yeah.
Mail address Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is the wildest part of the movie to me, is that he just like on multiple occasions has dinner with this dude and his family, like
Yeah.
while he's like trying to cuck the dude. It's wild. He's just sitting there eating and hanging with him, and it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, man. And standard.
Do you know a lot of Ryan's like dialogue in this movie?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's pretty easy.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
I think I know half of it.
But yeah, you get that speech down. You've really nailed it. You really nailed all of
Yes.
his
Say
dialogue.
yes a few times.
Yeah, I drive like a
Well,
limo driver for the
you
movies.
probably look better giving the speech wearing the scorpion jacket.
This is mine too.
Yeah.
I get to keep
You
this?
do sound like a kid that got told Santa was to.
Guys,
Now, when you get in your car chases, you can pull that bad boy out.
How we feeling? We dropped Tim.
a real human being and a real hero. Oh man,
So
this is so great.
when Ryan Gosling did this movie, he always wanted to do a superhero movie.
Yes,
But he said he felt like all the good superheroes had already been taken.
yes,
And this is like the closest thing he could be to a superhero.
yes.
So now that you got that jacket on, who's your favorite superhero? Or if you could be a superhero,
Ryan
what-
Gosling.
Yeah.
Driver, the driver.
What superhero would you be? Or would you be Driver?
You know, I think like Batman's such a compelling superhero because he doesn't have any superpowers. He's
Mm-hmm.
just really smart and obviously the $1 billion helps.
Super rich.
Super rich, yeah.
Yeah, wealth is a superpower.
Wealth is a superpower. Yeah, to quote the very awful dialogue from Justice League.
What are your superpowers again? I'm rich.
Wouldn't it be cool to be Thor, dude? To be like a god?
Fat Thor is pretty cool.
Fat Thor is really cool. You can fly with the hammer. You've got the gift of flight. Nobody messes with you.
I'd get motion sickness though, me personally. Flying,
Yeah.
flying.
I bet if you have superpowers, you can get
Yeah,
through
yeah,
that.
you can get
What
over
if
the
I
motion
couldn't
sickness.
though? What that would be the worst, is to have superpowers. and
I
be
can
like-
fly, you know. I
like
just
to
need some
be
Dramamine
Spider-Man
first.
And then just be like, God, web swinging makes me feel like shit.
Flares up my vertigo.
My inner ear is
Yeah.
just not meant for these
Yeah.
for these verticals. Ugh.
But yeah, I mean, oh, here's that second car.
Yeah,
chase
I was
right
about to
here.
say, you're saying this one's shot more traditionally. I guess I can see it with the more angles
Yeah,
and
the more
stuff.
out of car.
More
stuff.
out of car stuff. Yeah.
Christina Hendricks.
Christina Hendricks in this.
She's a babe.
She's such a babe, man.
She looks better than when she does the Mad Men too. I don't. Maybe just seeing her look so modern, it's like a little jarring.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't know. I thought it was her. Like at first, like when she was sitting on the bench, I was like, "Is that the girl from Mad Men?"
Yeah.
And then I saw her side angle, and I was like, "That's definitely the girl from Mad Men."
Yeah, yeah.
She's got some unmistakable.
She's got some
hunkers
features
there.
that are
I
identifiable.
know those
features.
bosoms anywhere.
Yeah.
Check out that jacket, bro.
Yeah, y'all are the same.
We're the same, dude. Me and the driver are the same.
That's the only difference between you and Ryan Gosling right now.
Is what that he has a shirt on under his.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you talk more than he does right now.
I know.
God,
His pod would be struggling.
you would be the worst podcast.
Be a
guest
bad
of all
podcast
time.
guest. Yeah.
You'd ask him a question, he'd just go, like, "Dude."
I drive. Oh, this. I watched this last night, and I was like, as far as break-in news footage goes in movies, this is very bad. Like this girl, the way it looks, the way it's shot, the way it comes in.
It
on
made
this.
me question like what year it was.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. So yeah, this is the news footage kind of pokes a hole in the story because the lady in the bad cut-in news footage says working alone and nothing was taken, and now Gosling is like, if he saw you take the money and he saw you get in the car, why didn't he say anything? She's like, I don't know, and he's putting on these gloves and he's very menacing, and he gives her a backhand. Listen, never okay. Never okay.
It's not okay, but I did think the scene was kind of hot.
I thought she thought it was kind of hot.
I mean, it's nice to see a man take charge. You know, like
It also cracks me up that he's like pointing at her like it's a gun almost.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You just got a little boy's father killed, and you almost got us killed.
now
So
you're
the
gonna
next-
suck this dick.
Okay, so yeah, the second story of me evangelizing people and having it kind of backfire is I used to go to a lot of conferences for work, and this scene reminds me of why it was a bad suggestion.
Her head exploding.
Yeah. So, it's right around the time I'm obsessed with Drive, and you go to the same conferences, you see the same people, and there's this person there, a little conference crush. You know what I'm saying? A little conference crush, sweet woman, and to quote a great joke from one of the former guests of the Movie Ruiners podcast, Aaron, the guy from Nateland, Aaron Weber.
Oh.
But Aaron Weber has that great joke where he's like, friendship is in the air.
Yeah. Potential friendship.
Potential friendships in the air. So nothing's happening. We're both married, but friendship's in the air. And so we're talking about Drive, and I was just like, I love this movie so much. I have the DVD in my messenger bag. I carry it with me at all times.
And the jacket.
And the jacket now. And I was like, we have another conference next month. So here, you take this with you. Just bring it back next month, and we'll talk about it or whatever. And I don't know if she avoided me on purpose, but that second conference the following month, I didn't see her at all. And she just gave me my DVD back, left it at the front desk for me with a note. And the note was basically just like, didn't care for it. Didn't love it. It was kind of violent. And I was like, oh, yeah, there are a lot of gratuitous violent scenes in this movie.
It is about a psycho.
It catches you off guard.
Yeah, it does. It does. And almost like it is obviously got violent parts, but it's not a violent movie. It's not about violence. It's just like, that was kind of more of like a background secondary thing to me. It didn't even cross my mind. Like, don't recommend this movie to someone that you kind of know.
Yeah, just in passing.
Like a work acquaintance,
So when he like comes out of the bathroom and he's just got blood all over his face and he's like weirdly smiling.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a funny meme of like when she says she's on her period.
Yeah. That's a good meme. Yeah. I thought about trying to meme that when my kids were young and they were eating spaghetti, they'd end up with a huge spaghetti covered faces. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I could do a little meme with that.
That's more wholesome.
More wholesome, yeah. But the only line that makes me laugh in this movie is when he comes in and he asks the stripper, he's like, where's Cook? And she goes, in the dressing room. And he goes, Where's that?
Yeah.
It's just like you can see, okay, this guy is actually good. He's a great comedic actor. Like he's so funny.
My favorite part in this movie, or what I think is the funniest, is when Ron Perlman's running away in the ocean and just hits a wave and comes right back to him.
It's like, where are you going?
Yeah,
dude?
yeah, it's like you need to dive, you need to do something, but it's just watching him just come back to shore. Like, it's
Yeah.
just the exact opposite of what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, well, I wonder what's your plan here, man? Escaping into the Pacific.
Ryan Perlman was like, you should have this character as like a Jewish guy that wants to be an Italian gangster.
Yes.
And the director was like, why? And he's like, because that's who
That's
I was.
who I am. Yeah.
That's who I am.
For sure. And talking about like exposition and stuff, like the only real exposition that you get is that little nugget from Cranston that talks about like he shows up in my garage 6 years ago looking for a job, you know?
Mhm.
And then the two bad guys. Like Bernie says that I used to be a movie producer in the 80s, you know.
Yeah.
Critics called them European. Another pretty funny line. Another pretty funny line. And then so you get a little backstory
I
on
did feel like
Bernie.
that was kind of meta about this movie too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's a great point. And then you get a backstory in Nino when he talks about like the family, you know, the East Coast mob, they'd never accept him because he's Jewish and they call him a slur to his face. And like, so you kind of get these character moments.
What was that slur again? Do you remember?
Rhymes with bicycle. But yeah, so I think it kind of like goes to show
What
like
was the slur? No.
when people talk about this movie, like, oh, it's so slow or whatever. It's like it's really not. It's like two simple stories that come together, and then it ends up being this like very tightly wound revenge plot. You know, like
It's deliberate, but it's not like meandering around.
no, exactly, yeah. It's really great, and so like you have all these other movies, you know, like a Fast and the Furious or whatever, you know, that has so much unnecessary shit to it. You know, it's like a fucking ice cream sundae with like all these sprinkles and toppings and hot fudge and whatever. And you're like, yeah, that's fun to look at and pretty good to eat, you know? And this movie is like a gelato that is like 6 ingredients and masterfully crafted. And most people are like, give me the sundae, dude. This is boring as
That
fuck.
was not a good analogy because I just want a Sunday.
Exactly.
And I'm not a huge gelato guy.
Yeah.
But I like this movie a lot. Like,
Yeah.
it was one that I'd forgot about. And when I was watching, I was like, dude, I remember liking this and remember recommending it a lot to people. And I was doing it at a time, it made me realize Ryan Gosling it wasn't easy to recommend him and stuff. Be like, oh, it's that guy from The Notebook.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a harder sell.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, he plays this badass.
For sure. This stoic badass.
He really got me in Blade Runner. Have you seen that?
Another great performance.
That's my favorite performance by him. He's
Yeah.
incredible. in
Did
it.
you ever watch Lars and the Real Girl?
Lars and the
I
Real
saw
Girl.
like 20
Yeah.
minutes of it.
I kept like thinking he was gonna have a weird turn in his career at that point in time
Yeah.
because he's very. Who's the guy from Scream that married Courtney Cox? Why am I blanking on
David
his
Arquette,
Arquette.
yeah.
David Arquette, because he
Yeah.
had that mustache and
Yeah.
his hair was kind of great. He just had some similar
Yeah.
features to him at that point in time in that movie, and I was like, oh, he's about to go down a weird road here.
He kind of looks like David Arquette a little bit.
Yeah, he could like a better looking.
Yeah, I think
Sure,
David Arquette
sure.
wishes.
yeah. Like the meme that goes around, like the Wish version of
Yes.
Temu. You order Gosling off of Temu, you get
Mm-hmm.
David Arquette. But yeah, I mean, like he's had such a great career, like, cause he can do these kind of art house movies, and he can do Barbie
Mhm.
and crush it. You know,
Yeah. Did you see Barbie?
I haven't.
I was about to say with two girls, but they're so young.
Yeah.
Have y'all showed them any movies yet, or taken them to the movies?
I think they went and saw like a Paw Patrol movie while I was out of town in the theater.
Were you pissed when you got back and found out?
I was pissed.
I didn't
man.
want to see that.
I want to see. I gotta wait till it comes out on Paramount Plus now, dude. But yeah, we're back in the elevator, and what I love about this scene is just it's intense. Like he stomps that guy's face until there's no more face, but before that, he kisses Irene.
Do you think it's because he realized he's never going to see her again after this?
It's either he's never gonna see her again, or she's never gonna see him the same way.
I think it's that for sure.
It's probably. I think it's
It's
probably a
either-
combination of both.
Yeah,
really.
it's like-
he just knows this is the end.
This is the end.
Yeah.
You will never see. I'm either gonna die, or you're never gonna see me the same way again. So let's just share a passionate kiss, and then I'm gonna stomp this guy's face.
It's a good kiss.
It's a good kiss. And now every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I can't believe I recommended this to that lady.
That poor lady.
She
That poor
probably is
lady.
like sitting here thinking a lot of like underlying stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
does he think he's Ryan Gosling and
Yeah.
I'm here in my happy marriage?
She probably felt like how she feels right here in this movie, where she's like, "Oh, Ryan Gosling," and then immediately stomps the face. And
It's like horrified. Yeah, horrified. And I love like the deeper we get into the movie, he just keeps walking around with this like blood-stained, blood-soaked jacket. And here it
Yeah.
is. Last time they'll see each other.
this is the girl returning the DVD to you right here.
She's just horrified, dude.
I left you a note.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'll take the stairs.
I did what I had to do.
The soundtrack is great.
Soundtrack is incredible.
It made like like one of the top 40 soundtracks for some like independent movie or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw, but it was still like I was like, yeah, the soundtrack's incredible.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, the Real Human Being song carries it for sure. But like Night Call is like the song that plays at the opening credits after the first kind of getaway sequence. And that song is just a vibe. It's just like it just all comes together perfectly. And that's kind of what I really love about this movie.
So at the end, you know, he leaves the money
Yes.
and that song cues up as he's driving off.
Well, he's sitting in the car and you're like, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? And then he blinks and it fades in. The song fades in. Yeah.
I think though he could have died like driving. I feel like he could have just gone, "I'm about to die. Like I'm just one
gonna
last
bleed out
drive."
doing what I do.
I do think my favorite line in the movie is when he goes to shake the guy's hand. He's like, "My hands are dirty," and he's like, "So are mine."
So are mine.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
My hands are a little dirty.
So am I.
I wish there was more of that though. I wish they had more, because the dialogue when they do use it, there's some moments where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's
well,
good.
they were gonna
but-
have what were they gonna do? They were starting a racing team. or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
I wish you would have dove into that a little bit more. I was like, is this gonna turn into Rush? Like-
So yeah, Shannon, played by Cranston, was again. I should.
Yeah, that's a crazy. He just stabbed the guy with a fork in the eye.
And my conference crush is horrified watching this scene as well.
If you don't like the movie, this is how I will react.
Yeah.
poor Sarah.
Oh man.
It does show that he at least likes Bryan Cranston though, because he kind of treats his death a lot. You
That's
know.
a good point. And also going
But
back to the
easier.
handshake.
Mm-hmm.
So he Bernie Albert Brooks offers the hand to Driver. He says, "My hands are a little dirty, so are mine." They shake hands, and then at the end of that interaction, Cranston's like, "Let's shake hands,"
And he doesn't.
and he doesn't. And at the end, Bernie offers the handshake, and Cranston gives it to him, and that's when he slits his wrist. So it's like,
God dang, I shouldn't have put my hand out.
yeah,
It does annoy me he never reverses the jacket again. You know, I'm sure there's symbolism there. Is like he's getting messier, but
sure.
but it's like you've already shown it's reversible. Like you're just walking around
Yeah,
with a
you
bloody
just had
jacket
a
now.
Bloody jacket. But let's be honest, it looks pretty bad.
It looks pretty cool, man. I'm gonna keep this one.
You might
pristine.
spill some wine on it
Yeah,
later.
yeah. Oh, dude, that's a good point. Have you guys ever had guests kind of like hint at what they hope their gift would be?
No, and I almost didn't get you the jacket just because you hinted that you wanted it.
I was just like, hey, man, well, we'll watch
You-
Drive.
No,
you
no,
guys-
no. You did it in a way that was so funny because you were like, Drive. I want to do the movie Drive. And if you're looking for any good gift idea, you like were kind of like Amazon right off the bat. Like,
Yeah.
I saw you were interested in Drive. You might also be interested
Then this
in
sick ass
the
jacket.
jacket from Drive.
Yeah. And then I saw that you had posted your custom Scott Stapp Cowboys jersey.
Oh yeah, that was.
And I have
Did you think that was for you first?
Well, I did for a second. Yeah, because I have a relationship with Creed kind of documented on my Instagram story or whatever. And I was like, maybe. I was like, hey, man, if this is for me, I'm just saying. If it's not for me, either way, It's a cool ass jersey.
What's your relationship with Creed? What's
Well,
you don't have to go into it all the way, but just
dude.
yeah.
Well, whenever,
Take us higher for a moment.
yeah, man. Come on, let's go with arms wide open. Back in the pandemic days, we got real close in our like cul-de-sac bubble, and we were playing drinking games with our neighbors. You guys ever play the drinking game baseball? It's very fun. It's basically like beer pong, a little bit of flip cup involved, but you keep score.
Yeah, I have played. Yeah,
So we were doing walk-up songs, like in
yeah,
a
like
bat,
baseball.
yeah, like a baseball. And this was before like the Creed Renaissance. I was like, Creed higher, let's do it now. And everyone was like, Vinny, like Creed. I was like, let's do it. I was more joking, but let's go for it. And then that kind of like became our inside joke with our street. Like Vince loves Creed. And then our last Vince Fabra's neighborhood, we had a band, kind of like our hey everybody, we're moving to Birmingham, but we're gonna do one more blowout on the street. And the band played Creed, and I sang along with the band.
That's nice.
Yeah, Creed higher, and I feel like I did a pretty good job.
What was the neighborhood? Was that a show y'all put on?
Yeah, so I did a show out of my garage during COVID called Vince Fabra's Neighborhood.
Cool.
And
Which is kind of where this characters come from a little bit, right?
yeah, for sure. Those videos, the neighborly advice videos came from that, and it's definitely like the best thing I've ever done. Like that's my comedy mountaintop for me.
How hard was that leaving Charleston and coming here and kind of having to start in the ground of the comedy scene and meeting everyone?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was tough, man. That was the hardest part, was leaving kind of that community of stand-ups. And also, like, there's a great improv theater in Charleston that I was a part of. Shout out to Theater 99. And so, I had just kind of like found my stride. I'd created these episodes of Vince Fabra's Neighborhood, like best thing I've ever done. That was like a culmination of 12 years spent in Charleston. You know? My neighbors are the live audience. My people that I love collaborating with are like the sketch performers coming on and off. I've got my stand-up friends like doing sets on the show. It's just kind of, like, hey, I've made it. This is my little corner of the comedy universe, and this is all I fucking need. Like I felt very satisfied with where I was comedically at the time. And then my wife gets a job offer, and it's like, hey, we're moving to Birmingham. It's just like too good to pass up. And I just remember thinking like, okay, like that, this is kind of like an ego death, like a little death of self. Yeah. And then we're going to go to Birmingham and kind of start over. And the best part about like starting over, at 35 at the time, is like, I know who I am. I know what I like. I know what I want to do, and I know what I don't want to do. And it'll be easier to like kind of find those people maybe a little quicker, a little faster.
Yeah, you found the scene really quickly.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be, like the analogy I use is like going to a new high school, but this time I have a fully formed brain.
Yeah.
Like I'm an adult. Like
I've done high school before.
Yeah, I've done high school before.
I just like hanging out with high
like
schoolers.
I'm not trying to.
So this is a Billy Madison situation.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
Yeah, Birmingham comedy has been kind to me in these last 2 years, and I'm also doing some improv here in Birmingham, which I'm really excited about. There's a theater that's popping up here in Birmingham.
Nice.
Called Faraway Theater in Highland Park.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it's really cool. There's an improv group called Gladys, and they're teaching classes and starting to put on shows.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Would you do improv? Have you guys ever thought about that?
I would hate improv, I think.
Yeah.
When it's good, it's great. But like feeling like I was at an open mic set, but for improv would probably kill me.
Yeah.
I struggle at open mics.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's definitely a struggle, I think improv is way more fun. Like,
Yeah.
if you're at a bad improv night, everyone's still very positive. Like, it's not sad.
Yeah.
If you're at a bad open mic, it's very sad.
That's very
Yeah,
true.
for sure.
I think I'd rather do improv. I've never done stand up or anything.
Yeah.
This is I don't want to get on stage by myself. That didn't sound fun to me. But what do you think would be the best advice for like getting better at improv? Is there anything you learned along the ways?
Yeah, so I think what I'm realizing is sometimes when I'm doing improv, I'm just like staring at the other person's mouth, like just thinking, like, oh, okay, and there's this delay. You can tell that I'm just like thinking. And so this idea of just having a point of view, like even coming out on the stage, and beginning a scene with like, I like my jacket. And now you're just a guy that likes his jacket. And so you can filter everything through that, no matter what. That was the
Ron
wave
Perlman
part.
wave.
Just got hit by the wave. I just love it.
So yeah, just kind of having like a character with a point of view, so that anytime you're staring at somebody's mouth, you can just be like, yeah, but how about this jacket? Like you can always just go back to it, instead of being like, what do I say? What do I say? Just quickly, as early and as quickly as you can, establish a point of view from your character.
Just like how that character would be feeling in that
Yeah,
situation.
for sure. And if you kind of go like a lot of improv scenes kind of start with like two people walking on to the stage and maybe like trying to figure out like what it is that they're doing or like who they are to each other. And if you can just come out and go, man, I'm so excited for this camping trip. Like, I know that we're friends. I know that we're camping. And I know that I talk with like a big Southern accent.
And that you touch other people's
And
legs.
that I touch other people's legs.
That was the character, or was that you?
Yeah, like get away with that in improv. Yeah, for sure.
It was the character.
Yeah. So here we are. And again, brilliantly edited. Like they're showing us the conversation and the altercation spliced back and forth. Let me ask you this:
All right.
did Driver have his own knife?
Yeah.
Or did he regain control of Bernie's knife?
No. So I've thought about this.
Okay.
A lot. Watching the shadows too.
Yeah.
Which is another cool way they shot it.
Very
showing
cool.
The shadows.
Very
you
cool.
kind of are left for a second. You're like, who's who?
Yeah, for sure.
So to me, when he knew he stabbed Bryan Cranston in the gut,
and
he knew who did it, and
Yeah.
he's like, this is how he gets him, is with the knife.
Yeah.
Because it looked like this is just how he kills people. So he
Sure.
just, in summation, he was like, I'm going to wait to be the good guy, to be the hero. You don't attack first.
Yeah.
So he wait till he drew blood, and then he attacked and finished the job and then
Okay.
left him with the money. That's my...
Reed, did Driver have a second knife, or did he?
I don't know. I think I'm not. I don't think you can really tell. You can be certain either way.
Yeah.
So
Rewind it. Let's watch it again.
I mean, I think he's maybe prepared for it, but you'd think with how easy he was able to stop everyone else, you'd think he'd be able to stop that guy with a knife. He also shows several times where he uses that knife a lot, so maybe he's just really good with it.
Yeah, and then Bernie has like again a little bit of backstory about him. Like after he kills Cranston, he goes back home. He washes the knife. He goes over to the case. He puts like the knife back into the very nice case of like fine knives and blades. It's like, okay, this guy's
He's a knife guy.
He's a knife guy, dude.
Dude works at Shogun.
Yeah. He's a hibachi chef.
That's kind of why I think he could be dead. Like maybe not right here, but just driving, because he's so good with knives.
Yeah.
There's a good chance he just gutted him.
He got him good.
So who's your favorite performance in this movie? Is it Goss?
Dude, I mean, everyone kills it in this movie.
Dude,
Go
Oscar
for it.
Isaac, in terms of the amount of time he was on the screen, he steals it.
Yeah.
See, there's not another knife laying on the ground, though. You know what I mean? Like you'd think if there were two knives, there might be one laying on the ground.
Nah, why? You're not gonna throw out your knife. Why would you leave the murder weapon?
I'm just saying you'd think there'd be one, right?
Yeah.
Because he got stabbed as well.
Yeah, I mean, he pocketed his knife.
I know. I'm talking about the one that he
he's
got
got
stabbed
DNA
with.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But no, I mean, that is a good point. There was not a knife laying
I mean, he could have been prepared, but I don't know.
Does she really want to see him when she goes to the door there at the end?
Girls are complicated. I don't know.
Dude, the ladies are complicated.
Everyone wants a bad boy.
I think so, man. I mean, like she saw him as a great protector. They had an emotional connection.
I don't mean like, does she want to see
She's
him?
probably just curious if he's alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is she doing a welfare check, or is she like, I don't care about the elevator.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see you.
I don't think I'm not that convinced that she's even that invested in this relationship. Like I think they were flirty, but
Yeah.
a lot's been going on for her. Her husband was just killed,
And he was in jail before that.
Yeah, like
yeah, she's
had
lonely
she's had a rocky existence.
for sure.
But you didn't answer. Who's your favorite performance?
I mean, Ron Perlman does a lot in this movie.
I love Ron. Did you watch Hellboy growing up?
Yeah,
Yeah, I really love those Hellboy movies
Yeah.
too. He's great.
he's great. And then, but Albert Brooks, man, I mean, like the two baddies are good in this.
I think
movie.
he gives the most unexpected performance, just
Yeah.
because you wouldn't think of him as a bad guy ever.
for sure,
And he's menacing.
very menacing.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation with Driver at the car
Yeah,
when he's just like telling him basically, I own you.
yeah, for sure.
But he's doing it with a smile on his face. Those are the scariest people.
Yeah, man. And and he's like his dialogue's really good. He's got a good turn of phrase. You know, he's always knows what to say and how to say it. And he's a knife guy. Can't trust those knife guys, man.
To wrap up, do you have a movie that always makes you cry, or you got a movie that always gets you?
Yeah, man.
Let's end on a sad note
Vince's
before we wrap
ultimate
it up.
cry movie. You
Well-
want to cry?
It is the Christmas season, and it's not a sad cry. It's a happy cry. You guys ever seen Scrooge with Bill Murray?
Oh, dude, great movie.
Great movie, dude. At the end, when he like gives that speech, gives like the
Mm-hmm.
like the kind of his redemption speech, and like he tells his brother the answer to like the Pictionary thing that they were doing earlier in the game, and it was like, how do you know that?
Not yet. I got this for Christmas today from him. I gave him a towel. The VCR is from Grace, James. You were right about everything, okay? Except the SS Minnow, James. What was the ship that brought them all to Gilligan's Island? The SS Minnow. No points this round, James.
Wait a minute.
How did he know
Wait
you
a
were playing
minute.
that?
Yeah, I just always remember watching Scrooged and like crying and thinking like this is one of my favorite movies. And then to make it sad, but I'm okay. It's not sad anymore, but it's just funny. Is right after my dad died, I was on a
Weird laugh.
yeah, because that's so funny. I was on a plane and the movie. You guys ever seen Hugo, the Martin Scorsese
Yeah.
movie or whatever? I think like Jude Law
With
is like
the
the dad figure.
Sacha Baron Cohen's like the watch.
Yeah,
dude?
yeah, for sure. And essentially, it's just like a dad, a father story, and like the dad is able to like pass on the message beyond the grave, like through this painting or whatever. And I just remember, I thankfully it was a red eye flight. I had an empty row to myself because I was like fetal position, like just letting it out on this American
Dude,
Airlines
that's
flight.
so embarrassing. Not like the last flight I came back on, I watched Field of Dreams, and I hadn't
Yeah.
seen it as an adult, and I only watched a little bit of it, like
yeah,
like 20 minutes here and there with Dad, just catching him watching on TV.
sure.
But I actually like watched it and was near, the last 10 minutes was just crying the whole time. It was
dude.
like everyone's gonna think, and I was like getting sick on the flight too, so it
Yeah.
was just like it was a mess. I had like all the tissues and people were, I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm just.
Did
I just
anyone
love
reach
Kevin
out to
Costner.
console you? Was anybody being sweet and kind?
No, but I just think I looked like my life was falling apart because I was flying back from London, so it was just like after a long trip, I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm so run down.
Yeah.
I need to get a good cry in. Let's do
Dude,
Field
there
of
you go,
Dreams.
I
man.
watched Inside Out on a plane once. And, no, I'm just kidding.
Bing bong!
Not Bing Bong.
Not
dude.
bing bong, dude.
Let's wrap it up. Go watch Vince's special.
Yeah, plug
Yeah,
your-
go check it out. Let's All Agree on YouTube. Very Funny Vince on Instagram. And yeah, if you're in Birmingham and you like to support live comedy, come on out. Maybe me and Nick will be on a show sometime. And Reed, dude, we're gonna recruit Reed into the sad life. Of
Maybe
open
if we're
mic
doing
comedy.
improv, I'll come join you.
Let's do
But
some improv. Yeah, let's do some improv.
Yes, and.
Yeah, come catch us at the Faraway Theater in Highland Park.
Well, thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate you having
Man, hey, let me say something about these guys. These guys are great. They're doing a fantastic podcast, and it's something really special to like care enough to research people, to look into their specials and to their podcasts and find these very sweet gifts. I think like you guys need to get your flowers, man, because y'all are doing something really cool and special here.
Thanks, man. Well, this
Yeah.
is why we do it. I mean, even that little kind thing, that means the world, dude. That'll carry us through to the next
Dude, I
episode.
love it. And let's just close by looking at this jack, dude.
Your ass was right in my face.
Where am I at, dude? Am I centered?
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous, actually.
Do you know,
Jack looks
And
good, though.
fade to black.
do you know the tale about the scorpion and the frog? Your friend Nino didn't make it across the river last night. I'm going to give you a time and a place. I'm going to meet you and drop off the money, and that'll be the end of it.
Real human being.
Movies. Thinking we reviewing movies. Movies. Watching movies till we